Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. My name is Rick, and if you're new to the channel, welcome, and if you're one of our regulars, welcome guys. Thank you for joining me on this video. I truly appreciate it. We've actually got a bit to talk about today, guys, but I'm not going to be talking about the election. Sorry about that. But I will be talking about some stories which came across, which I thought was definitely worth speaking about, and that is to do with Paramount Pictures and Daredevil and Marvel. So let's get into the first story I want to talk about, and that is to do with Paramount. So we all know that the movies are struggling at the moment because cinemas are closed, but Paramount are making more money selling off their new movies than putting them in theaters. So this is quite interesting, this article. So we all know, it's no secret that the box office has suffered in 2020 as movie theaters have been closed around the world for much of it. And even the ones are open aren't doing as much business outside of China and Japan. But Paramount Pictures has managed to make lemonade from lemons, as they have made millions from selling some huge planned theatrical releases to streaming services, such as Eddie Murphy's Coming to America 2. According to a new report, Paramount has earned, in total, around $450 million in 2020 from the first quarter releases and selling some titles to streaming services. We knew this was going to happen. I think this is a very smart idea from Paramount. At the beginning of the year, the studio was off to a promising start with Sonic the Hedgehog, which that took a $146 million domestically, which was pretty good. And then obviously COVID hit and theaters were forced to shut down in March, so the industry either had to adapt or die in the situations. So what did Paramount do? They adapted. What they did was the studio had uploaded several high-profile releases for large sums of money. Most recently, Coming to America was sold to Amazon. The much anticipated sequel, price tag was said to be $125 million. So they sold it for $125 million to Amazon. Amazon's just going to make that money back, definitely, especially with this one. Paramount also sold 2 movies to Netflix. The Trial of the Chicago 7, that was likely to be an Oscar contender, and that went for $56 million. And they also sold The Lovebirds. That went for about 20 to 30 million range, which then begs the question, what about some other titles that they do own, some bigger titles? Well, Paramount are very, very clever. So what they want to do, and I'm talking about the 2 big ones that they're talking about, is Top Gun Maverick and A Quiet Place Part 2. They will not be putting them on streaming services. They believe that they won't make as much money with those movies if they did put them on streaming services. So they're going to wait, obviously, until theaters are back up and running, and they're going to be placing those on the big box office, and they're going to make more money that way. I think this is very interesting, the direction that they're going. It definitely makes sense. Like we said, they've got to either adapt or they've just got to close the doors, and that's it. So we all know these things are going to happen. We're going to see more and more big titles go over to streaming. So the winners here are definitely the streaming services, Netflix and Amazon and Disney Plus. They're all just going to be jumping on board, and some big things are going to be coming out of it. So that's really, really exciting news. So the second bit of news that I want to talk about, which is really exciting, which I'm a big fan of, and I know there's probably a lot of you guys out there that are big fans of this, and I'm talking about Daredevil. Yes, Daredevil is back in the news. We haven't heard much about Daredevil, but what I do want to talk about is Daredevil rights will be going back to Marvel as Spider-Man 3 begins filming. This is awesome news. So the rights to Daredevil will reportedly revert to Marvel. That was back, you revert back to Marvel at the end of this month, guys. At the end of this month, which means that the MCU can finally use him in feature movies. This is awesome. Fans were left disappointed when it was announced that Netflix had decided to not continue the series. with many still hoping that the show will return in an original cast. The news just happens to coincide with Spider-Man 3 beginning production, and it has long been rumored that Matt Murdock will show up in the latest Peter Parker adventure. So this is all just in consideration at the moment, so we don't really know what is happening. So the rights to the situation between Marvel and Netflix is a somewhat confusing one, whilst Marvel Studios do still retain the rights to Daredevil property as well as the rest of the Defenders. The initial agreement between Marvel and Netflix stipulated that should any of the superhero series be axed, Marvel Studios would have to refrain from using the characters for exactly 18 months after the shows were cancelled. As a result of Marvel's agreement with their streaming services, they've been unable to include the characters in any of the recent shows or movies. However, with the comic book giant having mastered the art of planning ahead, which is what Marvel do, it would not be too surprising if they already have ideas in place for how it folds the likes of Daredevil into producing, whether or not onto the big screen or on Disney Plus. This is awesome. Like I said, big fan of Daredevil. Love the actual series. I just thought they really took it to the next level. And it was such a great TV show. But unfortunately, these things happen. And yeah, but it's back, which is good. So it looks like it's back in the hands of Marvel. And I'm really, really excited to see what they do with Daredevil. So guys, that is it. That's all I really wanted to let you guys know. Guys, all I want you guys to do is just drop me a comment. Let me know what you thought about the two articles about the Paramount or Daredevil. Also, give me one of these a thumbs up. I really, really appreciate it. Also, just follow us all on our social media sites. This is just easy and simple as that, guys. And until the next video, I will see you all then. Bye for now.